Make sure to stick around for some great moments like me dying to the first pull because I have no idea what's going on, me getting nature locked because I have no idea what's going on, and me getting disoriented because once again, I have no idea what's going on. And while we're waiting on the countdown for this plus 10 Priory of the Sacred Flame, make sure to subscribe so you can catch all these episodes as they're coming out and not a minute later or earlier, and hit the bell to get the notifications for when they do come out. And we're off to the first pull. I don't know how large the pull is going to be. I have not ran with this tank before. I've never run with anybody twice, and sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small. I'm just kind of waiting to see what's going on. It seems like the pull is going to be pretty large, and I was not prepared at all. I die off rip instantly, although in fairness, I did have aggro on like half of those mobs for casting a single life bloom. No use in mulling over that, so I just respawn, come right back. I hit the Stampeding Roar, feels kind of fast. It's not. I shift in cat form, not fast, just what, 20% more move speed, and I hope that's enough. I get back in time, I think, to heal up the rest of the pull and keep going. All I have to say is this mage has the awareness of a god. He's saved hero for me to come back, and I can catch up without blowing tranquility, which feels really, really good because now I'm scared. Quick little editor's note, this is not my first plus 10, but is my first plus 10 in this dungeon, and I'm always terrified whenever there's a big pull and I die immediately. The rest of the trash up until the first boss goes about how you would expect. There's no big oh shit moments, there's no big terrifying half saves or big saves. It's just clean, calm, collected all the way to the first boss. There was one slight hiccup, I guess you could call it. I don't know what mob does this, but I get nature locked. It's all good. We end up clearing the pull, no problem, and now it's time for the first boss. So the first boss of this dungeon is Captain Dalecry, who's paired with Elena Emberlands. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I looked up the Icy Veins guide. All I know is that the tank should do some active mitigation on some ability. Don't stand in the big circles. I have to make sure everyone's healed up for Emberlane's cast, and the DPS and the tank need to interrupt. I used to be able to help with that, and then they absolutely gutted my class, so I cannot. And I'm just hoping and praying that it works. This is the only really scary moment. My tank dropped pretty low during some cast. I think it was the tank buster, and they didn't have any mitigation up according to my raid frames. But got him up. We dodged all the things. I healed everybody up from that big AoE cast, and then it was smooth sailing from there. Now on to the next, big set of pulls is the room leading into the second boss. The tank went in, he pinged for us to stand behind this corner, so everything got LOS'd. I gave him a life bloom to hopefully get him through that. He bubbled, so it didn't really matter. But it was fine. I did not really pre-hot everybody, so I also didn't know, how the damage profile was going to be. I thought because we were just coming outside, it would be fine. Wouldn't have to worry about anything, but those divine tolls kind of, did a number on everyone's health bars. Luckily, I'm a resto druid, my class is absolutely broken, so it didn't really require too much, oh snap buttons, if you know what I mean. But it was simple to get through these pulls, and then we were on to the second boss. This boss is Baron Braunpike. Once again, I hope I'm pronouncing it properly. But my only experience with this boss has, for the most part, been on heroic, so he doesn't really do anything. He doesn't get a chance to cast most things. So all I did for this was, while we were pulling the last set of trash, and there's this little intermission while we wait for him to jump down, I pulled up the Icy Veins guide and read it as fast as I could just to see what would happen. Turns out it's just dodge the circles and heal, and that I can do. I just hope the rest of my group can dodge circles, and they did, so honestly, it was a pretty easy boss fight. I'll let the rest of it play out here, but there wasn't really any issues. I think I was convoking on cooldown. It was fine. It was fun. I felt like a god keeping my team up and able to DPS at the same time with my, absolutely terrible DPS as a healer. But other than that, it was chill. We made it through it, and then we were on to the room with all the paladins and scary things. This was honestly the scariest part of the fight in general. It was just trying to get out of the circles. I used my Tiger Dash because I was slowed and I was, what's the word I'm looking for? Unintentionally, not unintentionally, I was just way too scared for no reason. I could have just walked out of it, but I blew my like 30-second cooldown. Who cares? This next room was made trivially easy by standing behind this pillar as we pulled each pack one at a time and called it a day. Honestly, I kind of wanted the tank to do this massive pull and I would like pop my Tranquility, I'd pop my Convoke, I'd do everything I could. I really wanted to show off my healing chops. But after the disaster that was the very first pull of the dungeon, I think he was probably right, even though I felt like I could do more. And we're on to the last boss, Prior's Merprey, once again, pronunciation to be damned. And as far as I know, I just heal and then run up to the top and heal some more and maybe do some damage like I'm doing. I hope that works, although I will say, once again, no idea what I'm doing because I get disoriented and I could have just turned around, and you can tell that I immediately figure it out because I face my character to the back just to make sure it doesn't happen again. But only after I shift into cat form and pretend like I'm helping the rest of the DPS by hitting the boss with my claws. And you'll finally see me use some of that famous Druid utility. I stampeding Rorus up even though we have a mage and a DK who went the other way as well as a priest, so it didn't matter, but I did it and I feel proud. And that's the whole fight. I didn't really need to do much. I convoked. I was just healing. I wanted to shift into cat form, at least get a bleed off that I ended up not using my bleed, but that's okay. I popped Tranquility because I have no idea what's going on. Like, I keep constantly saying, I really need to like buckle down, but the season's almost over. Midnight's almost here. I don't think that I need to worry about nailing down all of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Nailing down all of the mechanics because these dungeons are about to disappear. I do get disoriented again. That's on me. I should have turned around. But we're back into cat form to finish out the boss and pretend like I'm helping. And there's my first 10, Priory of the Sacred Flame. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. I'll be doing another one of these real soon, and stay frosty.